This is Joe Crispin, former Penn State and professional basketball player. You are listening to the Mark Lesko Podcast.
I think you said that he could have gotten more separation.
There were some technique fundamentals in Maurice Fever that weren't perfect in the 80s. I had to throw in a few points of critique.
What was it like playing in March Madness? I mean, we have it going on right now.
But playing it was amazing. I mean, like, that's kind of your whole goal is to just be a part of that. It's such a special thing where the whole country is tuning in and anything is really possible, you know.
You know, my optimistic side said, like I said, that we're going to be okay. We just had a bad game. We're probably experimenting a little bit, ran into a good team. So.
If Miami came to our house, we would probably, if anything, win. We wouldn't get blown out.
When you first started playing football, you know, did you always want to play in college?
No, I was growing up. I was a big baseball guy. Loved baseball. And then 8th grade, I remember I got a call from my uncle, Coach Nagel. He's like, hey, I got the job. And I was just like, all right, I'll play football for you.
You are listening to the Mark Lesko Podcast, a podcast by diehard fans for fans. It's as honest and as raw as sports talk can be. Thank you for listening to the Mark Lesko Podcast.
Hey everybody, this is Greg Garrity.
So Anthony Lottie will punt it away from the 41. Greg Garrity is the deep man for Penn State at the 10-yard line.
Former Penn State receiver and 2016 Big Ten champion. You're listening to the best Penn State Nittany Lion podcast, the Mark Lesko Podcast.
All right, everybody, welcome in to the Mark Lesko Podcast. Penn State loses 37-45. Not surprising to me. Tom Allen lost us that game. That was a horrible defensive game. I mean, Tom Allen might have lost his job in that game. That was horrible. We said play the pass. They didn't. I don't know what their game plan was, but it didn't work, obviously. Dylan Gabriel had 4 touchdowns. He threw way too many yards. Just a really shitty game by the defense. The defense lost us the game. We know our offense. We know what our offense does. We know what they are capable of, if you will. You know, we know that the offense is going to kind of suck. And they did. I mean, they sucked. Drew Aller, 2 interceptions, which, again, not a surprise. Had 200-yard backs. But, you know, Gabriel threw 4 touchdowns, which, again, we knew was going to happen. The defense just, I don't know, they just didn't adjust. They didn't change anything. And they just let them keep doing it. So we didn't deserve to win. Did not deserve to win at all. You know, people can say, well, we just played like this against the number 1 team in the country. It doesn't matter. It will not translate. I know my team, it will not translate. It's not going to mean anything. Like, the next game is the next game. That's what it comes down to. And that's it. So there's really nothing else to say other than the defense lost us the game. I mean, Brett was saying about the refs. You know, me personally, I'm not going to blame the refs. We can't control that. The only thing we can control is how we play. And I mean, there was holding calls all game. They didn't call, especially on Abdul Carter. I knew that would happen. So yeah, it was overall just like a pretty predictable outcome. I mean, I pretty much, you know, I knew it was going to play out that way, and it did. But I didn't think the defense would lose us the game, and they did. I mean, it was just bad. They went for 2 there in the one play. Franklin will probably say it was analytics because That's Franklin. His arrogance. Gonna say it was analytics. We went for 2, which was dumb. They should have never done that. But yeah, I mean, it was predictable, man. And going forward, like with the play, like going forward, it doesn't really elicit. Welcome back, Rob. Welcome back. Going forward, again, it's the same song and dance, man. Franklin can't win the big game, and that's it. I mean, if we play a good team, if we play a decent team in the playoff, we're not going to win. So, yeah, it's the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. So, disappointing loss, but I'm not like super upset because it's like, it's predictable. I mean, it's kind of what we're used to at this point. So, yep. What is with the bad defense to start every game this year? Every good team or bad has gone down the field on their first drive. Yeah. Yeah, they played a hell of a game, but again, man, it just doesn't, I don't know. Who we run into, I mean, first round, maybe I think we get the 5 seed, but going into the playoff and beating Arizona State, like here's the thing. SEC team won the SEC title. And a Big 12 team did not. Texas lost. Pac-12 team just won the Big 10 title against the Big 10 team. We didn't even win our own conference, the Big 10. So, again, the respect, never going to get it, man. We're never going to get it. We don't deserve it. Franklin's never going to win a big game. I mean, with this class, if it wasn't going to happen this year, then it's never going to happen. I mean, we're never going to win. I don't think we'll ever even beat a team like Oregon, ever under Franklin. It's just never going to happen, unfortunately. So, with the playoff, man, like I said, getting like an Arizona State and then a Boise State, like that's not good enough. You got to beat teams like this, and it's never going to happen, man. It's never going to happen. That's it. So, yeah, I mean, I don't have much else to say, Jared. Brett's coming on at some point. Thank you guys for commenting. YouTube's blowing up. Which I figured it would. For some of you guys watching Blue White too, I'm sure. I'm watching Blue White here in the background. Though it took a guy getting the helmet ripped off to get yeah. I mean, yeah, the refs sucked for sure. I'm not saying they didn't, but I'm not gonna blame the refs because you just gotta win. I mean, at the end of the day, that's out of our control. The refs were they were terrible. There was a lot of flags that didn't go our way. There was a lot of holding that wasn't called. The refs were horrible, but our defense was worse. Like I said, man, all you had to do was go into like a 7-man defensive back defense, and they could have probably stopped them, but they didn't. So, we kept up with Oregon. A lot of people were saying it would be a blowout. Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, it was a good game. Like we did good. Like in the sense that we hung with them for sure. But, yeah, there was, oh yeah, absolutely, man. There's tons of opportunities that the refs could have thrown flags and they didn't. PSU secondary's bad. Yeah. Yeah, they could have overcome that by putting more guys out there, and they didn't. I mean, again, this team, this defense, everything altogether, probably one of the best teams Penn State's ever put on the field in terms of talent, in terms of ability. I mean, our defensive backs, like, they're massive people, and that's from the lifting program. The lifting program is probably the best in the country, honestly. I mean, they're massive people, and they're fast, and you can't beat a team like this. Yeah, man, it's never gonna change. I mean, I just pretty much takes the life out of me as a fan, and we're gonna go to the playoff, but we're not gonna beat a decent team. Like, if we run into like a Georgia or even a Tennessee, we're not gonna win. And I don't think Ohio State puts this good of a performance up against Oregon in this game. I think we did better than what Ohio State would have done, considering they have like one of the most average unathletic quarterbacks ever in Howard. Is that his name? Will Howard, whatever. Yeah, I mean, yeah. I feel like we lost this game. Not that Oregon beat us. We beat ourselves. Yeah, we beat ourselves. The refs beat us. They go for 2. I have no idea why they did that. I mean, that was just really dumb. I mean, doesn't help we can't find a receiver to get open like other teams. All throws are small windows. Yep. Aller a bum, Franklin a bum. The refs are bums. That sums it up. Yeah, I mean, dude, Aller threw a interception at the end of the game. I was like, I knew that was going to happen. 2nd and 1, throw up for grabs. PSU under Franklin can't make the play to win the game. Exactly. Yeah, so, and I'll just say this too. Like, for example, when Darryl Clark was the quarterback, when he dropped back, I had every confidence in the world that they were going to make a play. When Anthony Morelli dropped back, I had every confidence in the world that something was going to go wrong. When Zach Mills dropped back, I was like, who knows what's going to happen? When Michael Robinson dropped back, you thought something's going to happen and it's going to be good. Drew Aller, when he drops back, I get the same feeling I get with every other mid-quarterback Penn State's had. You don't know what's going to happen. That interception he threw at the beginning to Khalil Dinkins, to me, that was not, it was Aller's fault. It was a horrible throw. He threw it behind the guy. I mean, he threw it right to him. So, yeah, the call going for 2, that point can't explain it other than maybe Franklin was looking for a jolt. Again, he's going to say it's like analytics. Franklin's like Mina Kimes, ESPN NFL. He does stupid stuff like that. Like, and he says it's analytics. Like, who gives a shit? It's analytics. We're playing football. We're not Albert Einstein writing on a chalkboard. I honestly thought Franklin wanted to make sure we didn't lose due to the failed 2-point conversion. He would have been roasted. Oh yeah. Like, if we scored again and we lost by 2, like, that would have been hilarious. In a sick way, obviously. I'm not happy, but thank you guys for tuning in. It's blowing up. I wanted it to blow up with a win, but Jared, thank you for being patient here, and so go ahead, man. Did you watch it, Jared?
I did.
Right,
I'm going to start off by saying, yep. So I'm going to try my darndest to speak for every Penn State fan. This team, we're probably going to have to go back all the way to 1995.
Mm-hmm.
That was the last time that Penn State, to me, as a fan who has watched this team for pretty much that time, a little bit maybe before, where you felt like Penn State had an actual say. That they actually had a say in their own destiny. Penn State, for some odd reason, ever since they have joined the Big Ten, has signed themselves away to basically be the greatest third-place team in the history of third-place teams. I have never seen a team that apparently appreciates the bronze medal more than Penn State does. And that's not coming from the fact that we have had neons of decades of great games where we had great celebrations and comebacks and everything in between. We have witnessed some of the best games of the last 30-some years. But as far as controlling the destiny or having a say, like the other big boys, I can honestly say I do not know what that has been like for most of my life. I have witnessed many, many great, 10-2 teams, 11-1 teams. We've never gone undefeated since the 95 season, or the 94 going into the 95 season. Yeah. So as far as this loss goes, it was probably, I'm going to probably put it up there. It's got to tie the 2016 Rose Bowl loss as the most frustrating and just the most heart-wrenching loss I can probably remember, because there were 2 times in this game where Penn State was down by 2+ touchdowns, and they answered. You're telling me that a team that actually did what I didn't think that they could do, which was give Drew Aller many opportunities to make big plays, and he did. You had something that we talked about, what was going to be this formula for getting Penn State this win, which was to use the run game. 2 guys had 100+ rushing yards in this game, and you did not win it. And again, you're talking about not blaming the refs. As far as I'm concerned, that's always an obstacle that you have to put up with when you're a Penn State fan. When it comes to knocking on anyone's door of, hey, we deserve to be here too, and everyone opens the door, and it may as well be some demon from hell that says, no, you don't. I'm serious. It just seems like every analytic had pretty much given us no reason to win this game. No one had any faith in us. Everyone knew that Oregon was going to just trounce Penn State. It was going to be embarrassing. It was going to be humiliating. It was going to, and they didn't do that. But they still lost this game. It is, to this point now, it's not a question of if Penn State loses a game. It is how they lose this game. I cannot imagine a team knowing how to go through a loss like the Penn State fans and players do. Because, dude, it's not just a loss. It is a 28-car pileup that has no survivors, everyone is on fire. Everything is just the most ugliest and just most decrepit thing you can pretty much imagine. Try to find any horrible image, and it just seems like the end result is just someone in the fans going like this. Someone else going like this. It just seems like we are constantly putting ourselves in this idea that we have to go through the worst gauntlet you can think of, the Olympic trial of your lives, in order for us to get to the big moment. And again, we had how many opportunities, and then you make these plays, these ridiculous play calling that I have ever seen. I'm sorry, I don't ever want to see you try to go for 2, and then you flick it back to Warren, and Warren stumbles. How on earth can you allow that cartoonish stuff to happen in a big game like this? I just don't understand. I would love nothing more than to say that I'm always going to be a Penn State fan, because I want to say that. I love this team more than a lot of things I can think of. It's one of the things I enjoy on a Saturday. But man, oh man, if you told me that in my lifetime that I was going to pick this, and I would sit there and have to constantly get back and go, well, another season, another one try. It's just, I'm sorry, but it's I'm not saying we're the Brooklyn Dodgers, but man, it just seems like we are constantly putting ourselves in this position. We have to wait for next year. Something's coming down the pike. And now it's we're setting ourselves back. How many now? It's all these recruits that come. It's We know that Ohio State's going to have better recruits. We know Oregon will finally, go be the number one team they thought they always were. And Gabriel will probably win the Heisman now because of this performance. I mean, it just seems like we are constantly on the other side of this conversation. And again, it doesn't make me want to not watch them anymore, but it definitely makes you just wonder, what is it going to take for them to be on the other side of the game? Rant over.
Yeah. Brett, we're going to get your thoughts. I'm just going to go through the comments real quick. It's blowing up. Thank you guys for commenting.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, I mean, I knew this episode would blow up either way. I would rather it blow up with a win.
Well, Oregon paid the refs, so that's why we didn't win.
Yeah, the refs controlled the game.
There were people commenting that weren't fans of either team saying the refs got paid, so there you go. That pretty much explains it. People who are unbiased.
Yeah, I think Eric is a Ohio State guy.
Oregon got a touchdown on a missed man down field call. It was downfield, legal man. I mean,
yeah,
it was a wide open touchdown.
The refs were horrible.
I'm personally
not blaming the refs as a whole.
No, the defense was terrible.
Tom Allen lost us that game, and
defense was
someone
terrible.
commented that he might get fired. I think he lost his job in that game. That was the worst play calling. Manny Diaz would have never let that happen.
No.
They had to play the pass. They didn't. Tom Allen continued to blitz. I mean, it was just he sucked, and that's it.
And they continued to hold.
I mean, the offense, the offense put up 37 points. We can't ask for more than that.
Huh?
Drew Aller missed a lot of open passes.
A couple, not a lot. A couple. There weren't a lot. No, there weren't. There were 4 passes. The 2 interceptions and 2 to Warren. That was it. Think about it. There were 4. The rest were throwaways getting blitzed.
Yeah, what I mean is he missed some critical.
He missed some critical ones. No, he did.
I'll say criticals. Yes.
Yeah, critical ones. He didn't lose us the game. I mean, the interception at the end. Wallace would have been open if he would have underthrew him. He overthrew him. He obviously feels awful about it, but the team's not going to blame him. Franklin's not going to blame him.
I mean, the defense, they should have never been in that position.
No, shouldn't have.
But
Johnson had 190 yards receiving, dude.
Yeah,
come on.
Yeah, like Koss said, like the passes that he missed were. I mean, he missed some some of the throws he missed were
Yeah.
And at this point, man, if you're Drew Aller at this point in your career, it's like, man, you should be way ahead of where he is in terms of missing these open throws and
then he's getting pulled down and throws a perfect pass to Harrison Wallace. So it was a mixed bag, He played good and bad. So, but Oregon's a really good team.
I would have never thought that because here's the thing: we said that going into this game they had to play the pass. And if they would have done that, literally everything Brett and I said in the pregame happened, except the defense didn't show up. We said we need to run the ball. The offensive line needs to do well. Those 2 things happened.
Yep. Very well.
Literally, the run game was the best it was all year. It hasn't been that good since like 2022.
250 yards or something more than that, maybe.
Yeah,
it was insane.
200-yard backs. Okay.
Tron was crazy. Nick was crazy.
We had to play the pass on defense. We didn't, and that's what lost us the game. I mean, that's what we said before the game.
Yeah, I said if it turns into a shootout, we won't win the game, and that's what happened.
Yeah, because the offense, we knew what the offense does. Aller's going to make some mistakes. That's fine.
Yeah.
He made it. Just so happens that the critical throws that he missed were pretty big deals. 37 points, man. If you can't win with 37 points against the number 1 team in the country, then there's clearly an issue there. And again, yes, the refs sucked. I mean, they were.
They were.
I can never forget when. Okay, who was the guy who caught the ball? Who was the one who made the fair catch? Like they said, they had the fair catch arm. Who was that?
He said,
who was the one who caught the ball? Who was the one who caught the ball?
Zion Tracy.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So he goes there. He gets
I don't think that was a
20
fair
yards.
catch, though. It wasn't.
It wasn't.
Right.
No.
But I mean, you say the refs suck. Like, I remember they said the guy made like a play, like for the ball, like he had a fair catch. Like, wait, no, what was that? There was one thing where they said the call stand. Oh, it was the one where they thought that Bo Prabula was in, and they asked the challenge if that ball broke the plane. And you watch that ref come back up. The ball in the field, like he said something, he call stands. Like, you heard so much condescension out of his voice when he made that call. Like, everyone in my house was like going nuts for how he was like, how can you talk like that? Like, I'm sorry, I don't care if that was like an inconvenience for you or you were, you're supposed to be doing your job on the field. I understand that, but dang, did that just sound so like one-sided.
Do you know what play just proves how bad the refs were? Amari Evans catching it on the sideline, physically catching the ball. They didn't even review the fucking thing and moved on, and it was an incomplete pass. Didn't even review the call. Remember that one?
Yeah, what was that?
Blatantly caught the ball on the sideline. I'm like, this is when I was like, the refs they're paid, dude. They're fucking paid. Like, the refs were going to make sure Penn State would not come back, and then they didn't have to do it anymore because Drew threw a pick, but they would have figured something out. They would have figured it out.
Yeah,
it was the most atrocious call. I don't know. It was a catch. It was a catch. But apparently, it was a catch, but it wasn't a catch. So I don't know, right? How was it not a catch?
And then they converted the third down, but Franklin was like yelling. He's like, "What are you like? What's going on here?"
They said it was a first down, and then they moved it back and said it wasn't. Didn't even review the catch. How do you not review the catch, dude, and just keep going? That's the most poor officiating. How do you do that in a Big Ten championship game? This isn't Penn State versus Rutgers. That wouldn't matter as much. This is the Big Ten championship game. You can't do that. Dennis Sutton and Abdul Carter were held 6 million times. Not one was called, bro. I'm sorry. And then the guy's helmet coming off, hands to the face. So they had to physically call that one because his helmet fell off. But trust me, if his helmet didn't come off, they wouldn't have called that. It's the worst officiating I've ever seen in my life, dude. On top of a couple other games this year, but so bad. I guess my full the positives of this, Penn State showed a lot of heart, dude. We can play with anybody in the country after that. Our offense put up more points than we would have imagined, even with 2 interceptions in the game that they basically gave them a touchdown. Drew threw it to Dinkins. Dinkins didn't turn around. It's on both of them. It wasn't just on Drew. It was on both of them on that interception. The second one, he wailed it. He overthrew it. Very critical throws. You guys are right. He still showed heart. He ran the ball really well. Harrison Wallace showed up big when we needed him.
Yep.
Kyle Warren was getting covered pretty well. He still got his, but
dude, can you talk about this? Can you talk about those touchdowns, dude? I mean, they were beautiful. Like Drew Aller's one to Nick Singleton over the middle of, oh my God, thing of beauty.
Yeah.
And then the Julius Fleming, or was it Wallace 5? Who was 5? Is it
the Harrison Wallace touchdown on 4th and 10 was incredible. Drew was getting pulled down by his towel.
That was epic. That was so good.
Sidearm pass, Patrick Mahomes style, man. So you got it.
So
I
think I speak for all Penn State fans right now, where it's like you're talking about how these players fought with so much heart. I think I speak for everyone, where it's like, guys in the coaching staff, if you are not sitting these guys down and basically just telling you guys, we ruined that for you. Like, it was on us. We failed you tonight. Because, again, these play calling was just absolutely unnecessary. You do not go for 2 points when it does not need to be going for 2 points. I do not care what they try to do with that thing. I don't care if it's analytics. I don't care if they want to say that it was a jolt. I don't care if that's what he was trying to do. That really just sucked everything out. Because, again, we knew that we stopped them. We knew that we had stopped them, and we were going to get the ball back with 2 minutes or more. Yeah. But we knew we had to get a touchdown and a 2-point conversion to even tie the game, to even go into overtime. Like, it's again, there's so many things that could go wrong, and it just seems like they were just shooting themselves in the foot over and over again.
You know what the biggest downfall of the game was, though? Dylan Gabriel fumbling it, and it went right to him. If we would we won the game. If we would have got that,
go crazy when he got that back. How did he fall on that? He was nowhere near that. Somehow he got it back.
35-year-old quarterback luck, I guess. He's 35 years old. He's been in college for 26 years. I mean, what do you expect, dude? I mean,
I'm so mad my
Yeah,
tablet is falling down.
Yeah.
Like I said, man, like I don't know what it was with the refs. I mean, it just like
Oh,
it
it
was
was.
so bad.
We're
But
gonna
you know what would have been
penalties, dude.
what would have been awesome is like if we still would have won, even with those
Yeah.
horrible. But
Oh, I know.
Eric Montoya, are you a Ohio State fan? But yeah, thank you guys for commenting. I'm gonna pull up all your comments. If you comment, it's gonna be pulled up. And I'm reading them. But yeah, I mean, okay, so yeah, the fair catch was huge. Took about a minute and a half off the clock. The Evans catch on the sideline, don't know. That was crazy. It was a catch and overturned. That made no sense at all. Yep, feels rigged. Hands to the face of all time. Yeah, that's why they called it, because ripped his damn helmet off. That Wallace touchdown was, yeah, Roethlisberger style. How about the super late flag on it? Yeah. Yeah, that was, yeah, Eric's a Buckeye.
Yeah, I can see the red.
Yeah, well, Eric, thank you for commenting, and thank you for being honest about it, about what they did to us. Eric, what do you think Ohio State? How do you think Ohio State would have done tonight? Would they have done better than us? I mean, Penn State pretty much played as good, played the best that they could possibly play, except for the fact that the defense,
Couple mistakes. Yeah.
the defense didn't do what they should have been doing. I mean, I don't understand. Tom Allen has a lot of answers, has a lot of questions to be answered.
And let's not forget, Tez Johnson's really good. So I mean,
yeah, you're right.
Yeah, he is. That, like, Dylan Gabriel, the little shit that he is, threw a lot, and he did good, but he is a little shit, and they should have got him, but they didn't.
He's a slippery little fish.
Yeah, he is, man. He did good. I
prick.
mean, Oregon did good. It's just like they were going to throw the ball, and you guys didn't change. Like, all they had to do was play the pass. That's it. And they did it. And our D line did really damn good.
Yeah.
And they were being held the whole game.
Do you know
USA is back.
You know who deserves props? Nicky Calder, very good game. Very good.
Right.
Very good
I
game.
mean, look, you talk about what has made this team very interesting. Again, when you saw that Oregon went up 28-10, I would like to think maybe one guy from a Penn State fan perspective was like, there's no way we're coming back into this game. And out of nowhere, I'm telling you, I mean, it is like they heard what we were thinking, and they just turned it on. Like, we had big touchdown moment, and then we stopped them. We got the ball back. We answered again. It was 24-28 at one point. I mean, I was just absolutely blown away by the fact that they actually responded. And then when they went down 38-24, you're thinking, oh, there's no way. Absolutely not. Then they scored the touchdown, went for the 2 points. Should not have happened, but we got the ball back again. And you threw pass for a 2nd and 1, which, again, I understand it might have taken time off of the clock, or I don't know what reason you wouldn't just give it to Singleton or Allen, just get the 1 yard. But, again, I just think it keeps coming back to, like, how many moments did you watch and you just saw the play and you were just like, what? That's what you came up with? All those timeouts. And it was like that one big stop they had for Penn State, and they had to go 4th and 10 for that touchdown pass for Allen. There was like, how many different plays could you have come up with? And you gave us like the most egregious like ideas. Like, it just should never have gone that bad. Again, with the circumstances and the momentum that could kept coming your way, and you just kept finding ways to just absolutely give it all up. I just saying, like, the coaching and everything needs to be held accountable in this one.
Yeah, Brooklyn USA's back. Thank you, Brooklyn, for
thank you, Brooklyn,
commenting again. Play calling beyond moronic. You're gutting the Oregon D with the run game, and you don't want to leave any time on the clock, and you throw a bomb. Yep,
yeah.
I agree.
Wasn't a good play call.
I think both coordinators. I think everyone pretty much sucked. In the sense that we didn't play up to our potential.
Kolonicki didn't suck overall.
Dude,
That's crazy.
They ran the ball well. They got the receivers involved. Warren was involved. They actually scored on the goal line. That was a miracle.
Yeah.
But just overall, man, like defense was terrible.
We're supposed to be a defensive team. That's what comes first, and your defense needs to win the game, and they didn't.
I mean,
when was the last time Penn State gave up 45? I would like to know that. I can't remember the last time Penn State gave up 45
I think they
points.
gave up 45 to Michigan in like 2022. That's the last time they gave up that many points.
And technically, it was like 38 because it was basically a pick six that drew through because they got down to 1. So basically,
Jeffrey said refs were horrible, missed holding on Carter. Yep.
6 million times,
Yeah, a few plays. Everyone points out Franklin's records against ranked teams, but it comes down to a couple plays. Yep, that's right. Eric Montoya said about the Buckeyes O-line. He doesn't know if they'll hold up to the line of scrimmage. That final Penn State play looked like Ty was open on a cross route, and we threw a 50-50 ball that got picked. Aller has to throw a decent ball to wide open Warren for a TD. Yeah, he missed.
Oh, dude, that was so terrible. It was like that high up. It's like, dang, Warren had to like go all the way up to get it, and then he bobbles and terrible.
People are saying Drew made that call. I give PSU a lot of credit, even in the loss.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thanks, Eric. Timeout at the end when we had the ball was dumb too. Yeah.
Well, they said everybody was gassed. They said that Allen was gassed. Allen was gassed. Like they said, everyone on the offensive line had to like come off the field to get oxygen. So James Franklin had no choice but to call a timeout.
Yeah,
it's like, dang, you were completely running out the Oregon defense, and they looked like they were needing oxygen.
Eric, do you think Penn State handed Ohio State a win, being a Buckeye? Like, do you think? And we're not gonna like go after you for what you say. I'm just asking you genuinely, like, do you think Ohio State or Penn State handed Ohio State that win when they played us, or like, what do you think about that? The first half looked like an old Big 12 game. Why can't we have open receivers open over the middle, and other teams always do?
Well,
Tez Johnson in the slot. He's fast. He's quick. He had Zion Tracy tripping over his own feet. I mean,
yeah, I'll tell you what, Oregon. That's why I wish we would have played the defense we should have played, because Oregon ran into a Big Ten team, and they weren't used to that. I mean, they're at to start the second half, you got to score.
We won the lines of scrimmage.
Instead, we don't, and then they score again. That killed it. But at the end of the day, man, like, Oregon was not ready for Penn State. I don't think they just did. Oregon literally just did what they do, but I don't think they were ready for how tenacious we were. Because Big Ten and Pac-12, two different things, totally.
Totally.
They're just quick, and we did good against Oregon. Like, we did. Like, when I say we sucked, like, we should have, with all the talent we have, we should have done better. But we did really good against the number one team. I mean, I'm not laying this at all. I'm not laying this all at the hands of the players. They played their butts off. They put so much heart into that. You could tell every one of them was doing everything they possibly could to do something. But, like, I'm just saying, you point out how bad the defense was. How many times did you see, like, when they do the replay for Gabriel and he's throwing a wide receiver, like, the defense is like 20 yards away from a guy and they're like coming at him, like, at some point. It's like, I know you're trying to read the routes and everything, but it's like, man, they just seemed like every one of them was like neons away from all their guys, like, and they had to keep coming at them. There was one incident where they got a big first down where it was like they were 2nd and 10. They could have held them, and Gabriel just took off, and like the entire side of that field had no players on it. I was just like, how can we be that off with like whatever play you just called that threw everybody off and everybody was on that side of the field? It was so many questions. You just got to wonder what the defense was doing with a lot of those plays. This guy said, Gump out. Gump can't play ping pong here no more. You got to go find Bubba. All right. Did you see Kobe King throw up at the goal line on the second?
Oh, no.
Second drive. Probably just nerves.
Kobe
But
King.
I mean, I don't know, man. Like I said, overall, like we sucked in the sense that we should have won, and our defense just again, like it's always something, man. Like our defense, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but they should have just played the pass more and they didn't. And then they kept blitzing, and I don't know, man. I don't get it. Like we knew they were going to throw the ball. They did. They had 4 touchdown passes. That's what you got to play, and they didn't seem to do that. So it's like yeah, Vance, I was screaming for a timeout. It was the pace they was playing hurry up. Yeah, I guess. I mean,
Yeah.
They threw the ball. We didn't really play. We gave up a lot of passes. I mean, it's like, what more can you do, man? Besides literally put 7 defensive backs out there. Our secondary is very good at tackling. Play the secondary. Like literally, you could have had Abdul, Denai, and Zane on the line, and then have like 8 defensive backs out there. Can you imagine if they just had 8 defensive backs out there the whole game? What would they have done?
Yeah, I mean, Abdul and them, after getting held, would have had time to still get there at some point. I mean, Abdul was getting held and still making plays after being held, so he did his best. Also, something to note, Oregon's offensive line was a what's it called? Joe Moore Award, the Offensive Line Award of the year. Like, they were in the top offensive lines. And it showed, and it also showed that they get away with holding every game, or at least against us.
Every game.
Yeah, so they have a good offensive line, but not as good as it showed because they were holding every play. Yeah, I mean, if we play Arizona State or whoever we play, we have a chance against anybody, dude. The way the fight that we showed, we can clean some stuff up on defense, and we can fight anybody.
Yeah, I mean, dude, we played how we should play. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's
But-
my issue is. But yeah, Eric, that's a good answer. I mean, you have a hard time saying PSU gave OSU the game because of the terrible play calls from Will Howard.
Yep.
Terrible plays from Will Howard, but coaching and missed opportunities gave OSU. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, you guys came in and beat us. Like, you get all the credit for that. It's just like, Christ's sake. Yeah, but Allen got scarred after giving up big runs on the first drive. Yeah, man, I don't know what the hell he was thinking. Like, dude, they were baiting you guys. Like, it was a bait and switch. Like, they were baiting him to. I knew they would come out and like run the ball. Be like, look, we're gonna run the ball. No, you're not. You're just gonna throw the damn ball. It was a bait. It was a bait. I felt like it was a bait, and he fell for it. I don't know.
So the first half is what our first half defense screwed us. They gave up 31 in the first half, and then they gave up what 16 or 17 total in the second half, which isn't that bad, really, if you think about it, compared to 31. So, yeah, the first half was for us to be down 28-10 and battle back. That shows a lot of fight. Some teams would roll over. We could have rolled over. We didn't. We showed fight. Yeah, Nick Singleton and Katron Allen deserve MVPs. Offensive line played their ass off. They look great.
They did.
They played their ass
like,
off.
we showed a lot of fight. The dumb penalties punching people. Like on that kickoff, number
71,
14.
who is that?
He punched him. He punched the guy.
That was
the
Bailey.
And then our lineman punched a guy, and it's like,
yeah.
Since when are we punching people? Like,
yeah, dude.
When did this start happening?
We gift wrapped them touchdowns doing that, along with the officiating to begin with. We gift wrapped them perfect field position at like the R40 or something, like just crazy stuff.
Yeah,
so.
I don't understand the punching. It's like, since when are we doing that now? Yeah. But yeah, Koss said 2 interceptions, missed field goal, and failed 2-point conversion. Tough to win a big game in that scenario.
When he missed that 40-yard kick, I mean, man, my heart sank for the guy. I was like, I had that feeling that the nerves were going to be set in. And it's like, man, it's your first big moment in a big championship game, and you have to score points. And it was like, again, it was the play calling up until that point that took that away and forced us to kick that field goal, and then we didn't get any points from it. Wasn't that the opening drive of the second half?
Yeah, didn't get any points. Yep.
Yeah,
Missed
like it's just like
Most frustrating thing is that finally the offense puts up points in a big game and defense lets us down. Yeah, that's the crazy part, man.
That's a great point.
Literally everything Brett and I said that needed to happen happened, except our defense didn't show up. I would have never thought that. Never.
And why is Barker missing a not long field goal, man? I don't know, but he got the nerves, I guess. Shouldn't have missed that field goal.
Penn State was they kept playing catch up. The players need to go through Army discipline classes. Yep. Bhavani Shekawat. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. It's blowing up on YouTube. Keep commenting. It's totally like I said, it's blowing up right now. So thank you guys for tuning in. Keep putting in your comments. I'm gonna pull them all up. I am reading every single one of them. Yeah.
But you know,
we can try to go through
this. I mean, I'm saying just, the great thing you got to understand, the positive you can take from a really bad loss is the opportunity to do something about it. Like, you're talking about going into the playoffs. Now, again, we cannot speculate how they're going to find some way to downgrade this team. I don't want to hear people say we have the fits. No, I don't want to hear that it's guaranteed we have it. I'm not going to hear it because somehow, some way, that there could be that inkling of opportunity for them to have Tennessee or whoever jump us, and we don't have the home field. I'm waiting for their result. I hope to gosh I'm wrong on this, but again, it's Penn State. It's just there's just ways that they find ways to just make us feel like we just do not belong, and they are just going to make it as bad as it possibly can. But again, regardless of what comes about, you had this bad loss. Okay, I want everyone on that field who lost that game for Penn State to realize that you do have a game next week or 2 weeks, whenever the playoffs will begin. Like, when they go back onto that field, please just realize that you have every opportunity to bring the claws out, to become the Nittany Lions that we all know you could possibly be. You want to talk about playing angry? I can guarantee you there's not one guy that wants a little redemption for how bad it was. Now, again, if it's a one-and-done thing after this game, fine. But nothing would make us happier as Penn State fans than to watch whoever you play. I know that they're pretty much slating us to be the 5th spot, and then we'll play Arizona State. Go out there and beat them 68-0, or just absolutely just embarrass it, please. I mean, I just want to see some form of competency. Like, that's the thing. You learn from your mistakes, please. For the love of God, coaching staff, learn from your mistakes for a change. Actually get these guys the best possible position you can put them in to be winners, because it just seems like every time you throw out these trick plays that you think is going to work, it's like no one and their mother knows that that's going to work. Like, there should not be any inkling of thinking that that's going to work. And if it does, great. You were right one time out of 180 times you tried it. Like, I'm just saying, in the end, you have an opportunity to do something after this. Just respond as positively as you possibly can and get us a big win, whatever it is. Like, just go out there and be the best versions of yourselves.
SMU lost by 3, but they
lost by 3.
They might still make it after a hard-fought game. I don't know. That's only the second loss.
Said we deserve number 3. Steven said we'll get 6th seed.
Okay. Please, everyone, just tell me I'm wrong. I love nothing more.
If we're the 6th seed, that screws us even more, because then we're going to get a harder opponent. You know what I mean? So that's why we got to win, man. We're not going to get no respect from anybody until
whoever we play, we're ready for it. After what we showed tonight,
like with the refs, like if we beat Oregon tonight, going forward, the refs aren't going to be as
bad,
sucky towards us.
Hopefully not.
We just don't have that respect yet. Good.
But,
I hope Bama gets knocked out.
68.
I wanted Georgia to lose because they possibly could have been bumped out too. Like, if we would have won and Texas won, Georgia may have been bumped out too.
The world would have been falling if they let Georgia out. Trust me, they would have kept them in.
But I don't think Bama gets in. Bama most likely gets seated at.
I hope not.
Bama will get seated at 6. You think so?
They're not 6th. What are you talking about?
6th.
They have 3 losses.
Yeah.
No.
SMU has a better chance of doing that than.
If they get in, they'll be like 11 or something. And we'd probably play them, actually, 6-11.
Uh,
We'll gut Alabama, dude. We'll gut them. Whatever. Well, they're running QB that he could gut us too, but
Yeah, I don't think Bama's going to get in, but
I-
that's just me.
we'll gut
you know
Bama.
darn well we know that's not going to be allowed.
If we get
It's
Bama,
not.
we'll gut them, dude.
Yeah, I
We'll
think we
gut
can
'em.
beat Bama. But
Yeah.
here's the thing, man. Like I said, if we get a decent opponent, because I know we did what we did against the number one team on a neutral site. But here's the thing. I don't know if it translates. I don't think it does. I'm not counting on it to translate to the next game. So,
I think
don't
it
even
will.
get me started on the refs. Living in the technology world, refs choose to do a la carte on the play. Yeah, like that catch, and they what
Didn't
the
even
hell was
didn't
that?
even review it, man.
Nope,
After
didn't
that
even do it.
ACC championship, I think Bama is out. Yeah, I don't think Bama gets in, but here's the thing. At
Yeah,
the
it
end of
was
the
a
day,
close game, right?
Yeah, they lost
at
by
the end of the-
3.
at the end
Yeah,
of the
so I
day,
mean, no one got
Texas
blown out,
lost-
so yeah.
Texas lost twice to a 3-loss Georgia. We're the 5th seed. I
2
think we're the
loss.
5th seed. We
Georgia
lost
got
by
2
one
losses.
touchdown to Ohio State. We lost by 1 touchdown to Oregon. So I think we get 5. But, again, at the end of the day, man, okay, so tonight we lost. We knew that if we lost, we were probably still going to get the 5th seed. So here's the thing. If we get 5, which we should, I don't know how on God's green earth we wouldn't get 5, unless they really want to favor a SEC Texas over us. We get 5, right? We have the easiest path to the Final Four. Because we're probably going to see whoever at 12, probably Arizona State. And then in the second round, we're going to see probably Boise. Whoever's at 4, probably going to be, I would say Boise, right? Boise will be at 4. Who else would be at 4?
I don't think anyone else could go.
They might put Arizona State at 4, dude. They killed their opponent, and they have 1 loss. So, oh wait, no, they have 2 losses,
no bad
right?
losses, exactly. We have no bad losses.
All right.
I had to go to replay, but yeah, it came down to final 30 seconds, and SMU scored with 27 seconds left, kicked off, and Clemson got a good return, hit a pass, barely get the field goal range to win it. Penn State is overrated. I wouldn't say we're overrated.
Overrated. We lost to the number 1 team by one score. So,
Overrated
I don't think so.
means
if we lost by 30, which we didn't. So good try,
overrated would
Donald.
mean you could call because Ohio State is Ohio State, you could call them overrated maybe because they actually win. We don't really win meaningful games, so you really can't be overrated if you don't win.
We look like
games.
the number 3 team losing to the number 1 team. So
yeah, ASU could go
That
to
won't
4.
happen.
Okay.
Yeah, they could.
So we're going to see Clemson, I think is who we're going to see. We're going to see Clemson at 12. No, they're
Be
solidly
Clemson.
3. 37-45 is an overrated, yeah.
That's what I'm
Yeah, we're
saying.
not overrated, man.
And we left points on
Well,
the board. So we
Okay.
left-
Okay, now again, there are a lot of times where people are critical of Penn State. There are a lot of times where people are critical of Penn State.
not this game. Can't be.
Hold on. Let's throw this hypothetical out though. Now again, we did not expect that from the defense to give up 45 points. How can we judge ourselves as a team when we are constantly having to lose to Ohio State, Michigan? I'm just saying, when you think about how we lose those close games against those teams, I'm not saying we give up points, but
We don't score
again,
them.
you let the defense let them score more points than us. And I'm just saying, I am really interested to see how a Penn State defense does against a Georgia or against a Tennessee. I'm just saying, I'm not saying that he does not have any merit whatsoever on that particular statement, but it is a very fair, valid question in the sense, how would our defense look against a top 5, a top 10 team? Because we constantly play Ohio State, and they're constantly a top 5, top 10 team, and we always lose. So I'm not saying he is right about that, but we really do need to start asking ourselves, how can we get to these games where we have to prove ourselves? And we did. And again, you say giving up 45 points to a team like Oregon when we were constantly putting up points ourselves. Like, it's so frustrating. I try my darndest not to lose it completely, but it's just, you keep seeing these points where it's like, I can't help but I don't have an argument with it. I say right now, it's like their defense definitely did not show up. So I don't know. Like, you just didn't prepare. You did not know what they were going to do. So it's a tough one to really swallow. I mean,
yeah.
We should fight, guys. I love our team, and everybody out there. Nobody was like not trying. There was no lack of effort. There was a lack of refs calling anything for the life of us. The defense needs to clean some stuff up. Like I said, Tez Johnson being healthy. The only reason Wisconsin almost beat Oregon is because Tez Johnson did not play in that game. He just had 180 or 190 yards receiving on us. That shows how important he is to their team. Overall, we stopped the run game for the most part. They ran a couple plays on us, but we ran it down their mouth the entire game. They couldn't stop us for shit. So they threw the ball a little better. We ran the ball much better. That's what it came down to. I wish if we weren't playing catch up and we just ran the ball, we would have won this game. If we weren't playing catch up and we just played to ourselves and then we had to throw it physically to come back because there's only so much time in a freaking game. And unfortunate circumstances. I don't know. Oregon's a really good team. Got to give them credit where it's due. But yeah, Penn State versus Oregon and the refs is not a recipe for success.
We got to address Donald here. He said Oregon beat Ohio State at Autzen. That was in 2021. I don't know what that has to do with now.
Nothing at all.
After winning at the Horseshoe in 2021, Penn State lost at home to Ohio State. Who is Penn State beat? They beat 11 other teams. That's who they beat. So they were 11-1. Now 11.
We can show you the schedule if you'd like, Donald. We can show it to you right now. We can show it to you. Yeah. Oregon's 13-0, by the way. If you haven't checked it, you should go look. And the refs are 1-0 this week on Oregon's side, so you should go look at that.
Ohio State. Who is Penn State beat? I mean, what are you asking, Donald?
I think it's past
time,
Donald.
Like, what does that have to do with Oregon?
I think you should take your sleeping pill and just call it a night, bud. You should.
Thibodeau was on that team, for Christ's sake.
Let's see.
The day belonged to Oregon, but the year will belong to us. Donald, who has Notre Dame or Texas beat to be ranked above us? Who have they played close ranked in top 3? OSU lost to depleted Michigan at the Horseshoe, just saying. Yeah.
Amen.
No offense to I'm going to call him Tony Montana. Eric Montoya, right? Is that your name? Eric Montoya.
I'll take a stab at this. So the best team with the best record with the highest ranking was Illinois. They ended their season 9-3. We beat them 21-7. I mean, they shut them down 7 points. I know that was home. That was a really great win, I thought. So the best wins that you have on your season are the kind that you were not supposed to look bad, but you ultimately overcame, which of course was the USC. And again, USC, I know they ended like 5-7 or what. It was a bad season for USC, but the fact that you had to go on the road at the time, I mean, they were 2-3. They weren't like they were completely out of conversations, but they were struggling. So when you go to USC and you're down by 2 or some touchdowns on the road, that's a hostile environment. I mean, anyone who knows the Coliseum knows that is a very tough place to win. So the fact that they did everything they possibly could to come back and win that game, that is, to me, a very impressive win. I don't care if the end result was that USC was not as good as they thought. That fact that they had to do it in that moment at that game, that's pretty impressive. I mean, that was a great showing from Drew Aller and Tyler Warren, everyone involved. Julius Fleming's 2 big 4th down catches. I mean, those were some of the best things about that game. So then we moved on to at Wisconsin. Wisconsin is a decent team. I think they're 7-5, 6. I mean, they're around that kind of record, but going into that kind of environment where they do jump around all over the time, their fans were in it. They had every opportunity to knock us off our perch. And Drew Aller got hurt in that game in the second half, and Bo Pribula had to come in and do some damage. And the fact that he was able to put up anything against another Big Ten defense, that's saying a lot about how prepared that guy is and how good they could possibly be if they had him in the game. Then you have the other big matchup with the Minnesota game. At Minnesota, fantastic record. I think they were 6-2 or 7-2 or something like that. They had a pretty good record. I mean, but going on the road, again, a team like that, Minnesota, had every opportunity to knock us off too. And we won by a point. I know it was a close game, but everyone showed up in that game. Yeah. And I mean, listen, that's like what I rattle off, 3 or 4 games. I mean, that's those 4 games. I mean, almost any other Big Ten team, if you went up against that, you probably would have lost, or it would have been the other way. So I'm just saying.
Yeah. Hey, Brett, what do you think about this one? He said, you 3 should stop crying. The better team won. Penn State is like Ohio State can't win the big game.
Oh, none of us are crying, actually, but that's cute. Thank you.
Yeah,
so the better team won. The better team won tonight because, yeah, they gutted our defense. The refs were paid off and deep-throating the whole team. I think Oregon got called for 2 penalties, and they probably had 20 that they didn't call. A lot of stuff that they gave,
like every play.
They had a free touchdown. A legal man downfield wasn't called. That's 7 points right there, bud. So I don't know. There's a lot of arguments I can make on that, but Ohio State has won big games, just not recently. Penn State hasn't in a while, and they're going to at some point. They'll win the first game in the playoff, maybe the second. We'll see how it goes.
I don't. Donald, who is your favorite team? I'd like to know that. Probably Notre Dame.
Yeah, Notre Dame hasn't beaten anybody this year. You lost in
They lost to Northern Illinois. Can we just throw that out there? That's enough said.
If you're saying Ohio State doesn't win big games, like I don't know what you're talking about. Oregon was playing with 12 players on the field. Ref was one of them. Yep. Yeah, they had
I need to put that up on Facebook. That's awesome.
Yep. They had some Chiefs players playing tonight.
Yeah.
I saw this meme last week. I forget what game it was, but that said Chiefs player gets injured in the Georgia game, and it was a ref falling down. Yeah, man. Like, first of all, you're playing against the refs. You're playing against a good offense. You're playing against James Franklin going for 2. Like, what the hell was that?
It was actually a good play call, really. It just wasn't executed good. I mean, Tyler could have threw it to Drew, and he fell down. It was a good play call. Like, you didn't have to go for 2 in that situation. Why would you
go for 2 there? That makes
analytics, because if you get it, all you need is 2 field goals.
Yeah, that's a terrible idea.
Listen, Dan Lanning would have went for 2 there if he was in that situation. Think about it. He would have. If he was in the same situation, Dan Lanning would have went for 2. So you got to look at it like that. He would have. He went for 2.
Awful call, even if they may have made it. I think it was a horrible call, but
it was a good play call. It could have been executed better. Tyler Warren had Drew open and didn't throw it. He fell down. I mean, you can say it didn't need to be called, but
why would you go for 2 there? That makes no sense. It doesn't.
Give me an A. Give me an N. Give me an A.
Like I said, I don't know why they did it because analytics. Like I said, they didn't have to go for it, but like I said, it was a good play. The call that they played, the play that they called was a good call. Like it was a good play. Like they did the Philly special or whatever. No, the Philly what's it called? They double flipped it and had Drew go out. It was a good play call. They just didn't execute it. So that didn't lose us the game. So it doesn't matter. That's not what.
I mean, I don't know. I think mentally being down 8, I think that had an effect for sure. Mentally being down 8 instead of 7. Yeah, I would have never done that. Where do you think we'll be ranked at 5? I think we'll be at 5, Joe.
5 or 6.
We take the 1 every time. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, Brett. You can only Democrats use analytics. That's right. Where do you think we will be ranked and versus who? I think we'll be at 5 against Clemson or Arizona State. well, if you wanted to go for 2, then why not go on 4th down instead of going for a field goal on the first drive? Drew ran right into the defender on the play. Like, yeah, man. There's like, I don't, yeah. I don't know why
I'm just
you go
saying
for 2.
you're
Like,
kind
I
of
don't know.
alone on that analytical island. I mean, we're over here like on, extra pointville. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, Brett. I mean, I don't know, man.
I totally get what he's talking about, but it's just like, I just think that's something you just don't do in a big game. Regardless of, what's his face would have went for it too. I just, it's not that.
I agree with both sides. I mean, you're trying to win the game and do anything you can to do it. If you get the 2 points, it's a good call because then you're only down 6.
Yes.
Like Franklin says, if it works, it's a good call. The fake punt at Minnesota, if we don't get that, terrible call. But some go your favor, some don't.
That was one of the best plays ever.
Franklin's saying if it works is a good call is like,
it's true. No, it's a simple thing. It either works or it doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah, but dude, like then we're down 8. I mean, mentally as a fan, I was like, this is way more of an obstacle than being down 7.
It didn't change their game plan though. I mean, you still have to score a touchdown and then you go for 2 there. Like it was probably not the right time to do it, but like I said, the play that they called wasn't a bad play call. It was just the fact of going for 2. No, yeah, it was a good try, but
it was really a good play. You're not wrong. I just
they should have did that with Bo for Bueller because Bo would be a better passer for that.
That's a good point.
They should have did that with Bo. I thought Bo played good.
Yeah, dude, I just think it was the wrong play. They should have ran Bo more. I mean, there's like a lot of times where like just put Bo in and
Drew had a lot of rushing yards too. How many did he have?
55. He had a lot.
It's really good. Yeah.
Like I agree, man. It's like I think it mentally had an effect on us going for that and missing, and now you're down 15, then you're down 8. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. But yeah, I don't know.
I mean, but those other calls in the game that obviously were more detrimental than that one. But yeah, if we think about it, for sure. I mean, like I said, the call didn't lose the game.
I mean, but like, yeah, man, I don't know.
So listen, I mean, could I have called a better play? I don't know. I mean, that's the thing about this. We all could play, couch quarterback, whatever they call that expression. But it's just like, yeah, they went for it. It didn't execute, and now we're calling them idiots for it. It is. I mean, it looked so bad, and it's just like you could have slipped on a banana peel, would have made it look a little more comical. But that's kind of what it looked like.
That's what it looked like.
I mean, you're just sitting there with egg on your face. It's just, I just don't understand how they constantly are putting themselves in positions where maybe it's just how. Again, you want to talk how you want to make a good reason for it, but it's just it's not then. It's just any other time, but not then.
I feel you. I mean, I agree with you guys too. I do. I wasn't happy with how it happened. I guess I'm just rooting for my team because they fought hard tonight, and it's a heartbreaker. It's a heartbreaker, it really is, and disappointed. But hey, at least we didn't look pathetic, like look at the bright sides. Like we could have been gutted. Like I said, we could have rolled over at 28-10. It could have been
2 times they were down so much, and they kept coming back. I mean,
could have
been a
45, 50, 20 game. It could have been. We fought. So I'm proud of our team, and there's positive things to look at.
We just ran out of time.
Yep.
Yeah.
But will the committee see it that way, Brett? That's the thing. Will the committee see it that way? We know how great these guys fought their butts off.
I think
they punish them for it.
I think most people clown us and think we're not going to come close to beating Oregon, and we fought our ass off. I think people should respect Penn State after tonight. I really do. Regardless of how the game ended, I think they should put respect on our name because the refs were on us the whole night. They were terrible. Drew threw 2 picks. I get it, but that shows that we had chances to win the game and that we fought hard and we were close. So close but no cigar.
I don't give. Yeah. I personally don't give Drew credit for tonight. I thought he was not good. I mean, but Yeah.
The big plays, I mean, I totally get what you're talking about, dude. But yeah, that's the thing. You take away them all, I mean, he had a really good game. Like,
he started off really hot. He started off hot.
I mean, it was
threw a couple bad ones.
Yep.
Most of his incompletions were throwaways. Let's be honest. There were probably like 7 throwaways. So overall, his completion percentage is really bad, but the throwaways count to that. So he threw a bunch out.
All right, so let's see. Okay, I'm just gonna pull up this random bracket.
I mean, he had 4 touchdowns, so he couldn't have played that bad. Let's be honest. Dude had 4 touchdowns.
I mean, the 3 plays that will just be in my head for a long time are the missed field goal by Barker, the idiotic execution. I mean, again, it wasn't a bad play. Like I do want to commend you for saying it wasn't a bad play, Brett, but it's just the idiotic execution that it went down. And then, of course, the one bad throw to Warren. I mean, it changed so much momentum. They were just going down the field left and right, just big plays, and then that one over the head. And then it killed it.
You guys want to hear a crazy stat real quick? Yes. Tonight's game was the only game against AP top 25 teams this year that Drew had a touchdown. He didn't have a touchdown against Illinois. He didn't have a touchdown against Ohio State. So you got to give him some type of leeway. He had 4 touchdowns. So I'm going to stand up for him a little bit. He made mistakes, but
don't give him a B-.
Any injuries, or did Penn State get out without injuries? I don't think we had any injuries. So the community knows football. I think they've seen some of the missed flags and such. Oregon was still ahead. It wouldn't have had much of an effect in them. Definitely affected us more. Yep. Going for 2. Close to 50% completion is not good. If Big Ten wins the title, it won't be Ohio State or Penn State winning it. Okay, Donald, thanks.
The completion percentage doesn't tell the story, like I already said. So
I wish we could play the clip. Aller's terrible pass to wide open Aller. Middle of the field it was pretty bad. Drew wasn't bad. He just wasn't good enough to make up for the rest of the team. I thought this was one of the biggest plays of the game. Also, did you guys think when we ran and took the tackle and they said they thought his arm, but he had a grass stain on his helmet and looked like he was foggy?
I don't know what that is. I don't know what he's saying.
Yeah, like he had a concussion, maybe, possibly.
Yeah, I know which one you mean. The one where Aller ran for like 15, 20 yards. He went down, then they bring broke for view. Yeah,
looked like
that was
weird.
Shoulder
was a little hurt. But looking at the bracket, all right, it's going to be Oregon 1, Texas or Georgia 2, most likely. I guess it'll be what? Clemson won't be 3, will they? I think it'll be Arizona State 3 because they smoked their team today. Arizona State's going to be 3 for sure. Boise 4. I guess us at 5. Texas 6. Notre Dame 7. I guess Ohio State 8. Tennessee 9. And then I think Bama gets knocked out by someone. But I think that's pretty much what we're looking at here. We're looking. Do
you think SMU stays in? I mean, they're the other team, right?
Arizona State.
No, SMU.
Oh, because they lost close. I think SMU knocks Bama out.
Okay.
But they were saying in the post game for CBS tonight that they're looking at brands. Penn State and Ohio State need new coaches. LOL. Thank you, Donald. So Clemson has to be in somewhere. Yeah. So Clemson. I think it's gonna be like Clemson will be in there somewhere.
I think you made a
point.
Ben.
Bama beat Georgia. Bama beat the SEC champions this year, so they're getting in. Donald is a Gus fan. Yeah, I think Donald voted for Kamala. So Bama beat the SEC champions, so they're probably going to get in at the end of the day. So
yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, they'll find a way. Again, Ohio State and Bama are just 2 teams that cannot be left out. Can't do it. It's just got to be somehow written in stone, like the 10 Commandments. Like Ohio State and Alabama will forever be relevant, never not be it. They always have to be there. I think you're actually onto something, Mark. I mean, in the sense, like with the Clemson thing, we may actually play them. If you're saying Arizona State goes for 3, we may have a shot at playing Clemson first.
Yeah, so it's going to be Oregon, Georgia, Arizona State, Boise State, us, Texas, Notre Dame, Ohio State, Tennessee, probably Indiana, and then probably Bama, Clemson, I would guess.
Yeah.
Clemson will get a bye for sure. They love Clemson.
To be honest with you, I have no idea what the committee's going to do tomorrow.
I don't think Clemson gets the 3 spot. I think Arizona State gets the 3. Clemson's got to be the 12 seed most likely.
They blew out Iowa State. Man, they just destroyed them.
Yeah, me too. It was nice being on CBS. Could Indiana get kicked out of the top 12? I don't think so because they don't deserve to be kicked out. No way Indiana is in. Huh.
They probably will be.
Well, maybe he just said no way Indiana's in. I mean, like, no way Indiana's in.
Who do you guys think we will match up well against out of the playoff teams? We'll match up well against, like,
we can fight anybody.
Arizona State, Clemson. Of the top teams, I think we could beat Indiana, Notre Dame. We could beat Texas. I think we could beat Texas. I mean, after the game, after our performance tonight, man, like we could pretty much, as I said at the beginning of the year, this is probably the most talented team in the country. We can roll with anyone, and I think we kind of proved that tonight. That we just played the number 1 team. I mean, they were very damn good. I personally am taking no credit from Oregon. Like they just dominated. They did well against a good defense. Our defense.
Yeah,
it's supposed to be good. Yeah.
So if we can roll with Oregon like that tonight. You know, I don't think it's going to translate, but if we can roll like that with Oregon, I think we can roll with anybody in the country. Oregon, in my opinion, Oregon is the only outright, like, proven good team this year. Like, they're undefeated. They're the best team in the country. We just rolled with them. So
what did they show, though? I think they showed that something like Oregon was last in the Big Ten for yards per play. I know my dad said something, like we were talking about the game, and he knew he saw some stat that said Oregon, out of all the Big Ten teams, he didn't say they were the worst, but he said definitely in the Big Ten, Oregon was like one of the worst yards per play team. So it's like, yeah, they've got flaws. I personally think like Oregon is not like the buttoned up, like pristine version of like an old Alabama or, you know, a Georgia. You look at all the teams right now as it is. I mean, if Alabama doesn't get in, and who would take the place? I mean, would they throw Miami in after being 11-2? I don't know. I feel like that needs to be an argument, regardless of like what the losses are. Like they're 11-2, they're 10, they're 9-3. They didn't play a game, neither did Miami. I just don't know. I just feel like that's the only argument you have to like maybe put someone in over Alabama. But like, yeah, I feel like that would be a team we could beat. Notre Dame and Georgia are probably the 2 teams I would say, if I look at them very closely, it's like, I don't know. Like that, they seem like they have good defense guys, like they have good coaching, they have good play calling. Like they seem to be like those would be the names that I would probably be like, you know, I don't know how we get through that game. I don't know. I don't have any clue how we would play a team like Notre Dame or Georgia. Like everybody else, I've seen it. I think we have a pretty good shot against a team like Tennessee, a team like Texas, Indiana. I mean, they're in the Big Ten. We know how to play Big Ten teams. So it's really, I think those are the 2 I would say for mine.
Oh, sure, guys, I got to tap out soon. I'm hit and I got to work. So I'm
all right. Brett, how do you think it's going to play out tomorrow? Because we're going to do a show at 12.
Yeah, I don't know, man. There's so much stuff that happened today. Like they could keep SMU in. They could kick them out. They could put Clemson in. I mean, Clemson's probably in. They could still put Alabama in. But I don't know. There's not enough spots for all these teams. There's only 12 spots. There's going to be 2 teams that are pissed off. Let's be honest. There's going to be 2 teams that get left out. They're going to be jacked. And I don't know which teams those are because the committee is unpredictable. You can't trust them. There was a video posted earlier today. They were watching football. They didn't have beer. They didn't have chip dip. They didn't have wings. They didn't have anything. They were just sitting there watching. Like, you can't be trusted, dude. Like, what are you doing? You don't have freaking buffalo chicken dip or anything there? Like I can't trust it, dude. I'm sorry. But I had buffalo chicken dip and pizza. So you failed to be a football fan, and you're being a weirdo. So I can't trust him. Don't know what's going to happen. There's my rant. No clue. I really don't. And
So
I don't
Alyssa
know.
thinks Texas
We're
gets
5
the
or
5
6.
spot.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, they were number
That's
2. We were number
interesting.
3. They lost by 3. But we lost to the number 1 team. They lost to number 5.
So that's
So, I
another
don't
thing. Costs. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Another reason we wanted Georgia to lose is because
Oh, that's right,
ultimately,
Cox. Thank you. You're right.
ultimately, it may mean nothing because if Carson Beck is hurt, they should factor that in, man.
That's
like
true.
They did with Jordan Travis last year in Florida State.
Gunnar Stockton had a pulse though. He didn't look bad, so it might be different. No, he wasn't bad. No, he wasn't. He threw a bad
if you
pick.
don't like Buffalo Dip, you're a terrorist.
Yeah. Seriously. Smart stuff.
All right, guys.
Yes.
Thank you guys for commenting. Jared, you're good for tomorrow, right, at noon?
Yes, sir.
I'll try to chime in on the comments if it's slow. I should be able to. It's Sunday. We'll see. But
yeah. How do they decide who's in the committee? I think they find the most nerdy, unintelligent.
They don't like buffalo chicken dip. Let's put it that way.
Buffalo dip or beer.
Non-football people they can find and just say, "Hey, start watching football and pick some teams."
Yep.
Carson Beck is anyways like Cade McNamara. I would take him any day. Carson Beck is anyways like.
Isn't anything? Maybe.
Yeah, it's in anyways like. Yeah, I think that we missed a word.
Anything like.
In many ways,
if
like
Carson Beck is in any ways like.
And dude, Beck's you got his Snapchat history has to be studied. The Snapchats he sends girls, dude, is unreal.
Yeah.
Like they posted all those about him, dude.
Yeah, and
he's a freak.
He's like a.
He's a freak.
Yeah, I don't think he's like the most handsome fella. I'll say that. So Alyssa said they rotate in every so many years, Joe. So that's how they decide the committee. 6 originals are still, and 7 new this year. So yeah, like I think the committee generally is okay. Like I don't really have an issue with the committee. I personally think we get 5. How can we not get 5? Brett, if you want to jump off, go ahead. Jared and I can keep talking. All
right.
I'm pretty tired too, but
yeah, I just gotta get to sleep. You guys have a good night. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, Brett. Thanks for coming on, Brett.
Yep, we are Penn State guys. Let's fight.
Yes, sir.
All right. See you.
See you, buddy. Yeah. So Jared, 6 originals and then 7 new this year. So the SEC is overrated. Plays only 8 conference games, and FCS cupcakes. Leave Alabama out. They're overrated. Donald, do you just like hate college football or what?
Honestly. I mean, I'm wondering where this guy is going with it.
It's Oregon, UGA, Boise, ASU, Texas, PSU, Notre Dame, OSU, Tennessee, Indiana, Clemson, SMU. That's my thoughts. So
those are good thoughts.
Eric says Bama doesn't get in. Stupid stuff. SEC, Texas bias, and Notre Dame. All right, so Joe thinks. I think we get 5, but.
Okay. I hope you're right, dude. I mean, I'm just saying. Just seems like there's just always a way to leave you out. I'm just feeling that feeling.
Yeah,
dude.
like I don't know. To me, man, I think we get 5, but I don't know how we don't get 5. Texas lost to a 3-loss Georgia team twice, right? Okay.
Well,
Our loss was to Ohio State and Oregon.
Yep.
Bama beat the SEC champions, so I think they get in. I mean, I totally agree with them not getting in, but I think they still do. Can you tell me which team in the top 12 is worse than Indiana? Well, depending on what the top 12 is, like SMU, I think Indiana could beat SMU. I think Indiana could beat Arizona State. Maybe
Boise
not Arizona State. I think Indiana could beat Boise. So,
I mean, if they're at the height of their influence this year, dude, how they were scoring points against certain teams, I think they could easily take out a team like Arizona State.
Yeah. Look, we can still improve from what happened in this game. New season coming up. Beeve will be rocking. I think we should be 5. but I'm saying SEC bias. I'm saying SEC bias might keep us.
Joseph, I think that's kind of where I'm going with it. I mean, I'm subconsciously thinking we may have something go wrong, but that might be where I'm thinking it.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe Indiana doesn't beat Boise. I don't know. It's Indiana. Boise is not like a Big Ten team, so they pretty much are one-dimensional with Ashton. I mean, he's a freak. But,
he is.
But yeah, Joe said he thinks we should be 5. Yeah, I agree with the SEC bias, but I think we get 5. I don't think there's. Okay. I don't know how we couldn't be at 5. I mean, besides the SEC bias, like Joe said. Eric, who is he answering? Yeah, Eric. Feel that's just how they feel about Clemson, but either Clemson or Boise is 11. So. Yeah,
I totally understand where that point is made. I do like Ashton Gentry. I think he is a fantastic player. I mean, he definitely can run up and down the field against anyone, but I don't know. The way they played football this year, I don't know. I feel like they have a shot at least answering whatever Boise State gives. So even if Ashton Gentry, what is it? Ashton, what is it? The last name? I just saw it. Ashton Gentry, thank you, Ashton. I mean, if he scores, then Indiana scores. If he scores, Indiana scores. I just feel like Boise State's defense, I think, don't hold back Indiana's offense. I think they respond, and definitely they kick a field goal at the end, and be like 38-35. I'm just saying, I think they could win.
Oh, Donald's a Oregon fan.
That explains it now. That explains it now.
And their loss to Northern Illinois still stinks. I wouldn't move them an inch. Yeah. One and done.
True.
I think we can knock anyone off, but we seem to always come up short when it matters. Yeah, Randy, you're right.
Yep. Amen. Seems like the Penn State mantra.
Yeah. But you guys I guess keep commenting, but Jared, you have anything else to say?
I think we covered about as much as we can, dude. I'll leave it with this. I love my movies. I'll do the Little Giants thing. Even if they are better than all of us, and even if they do win 99 times out of 100, still lose one time.
Yeah. Ashton Gentry, I think, yeah, I agree. He should get it over to
Yes, I very much agree with that. Yes.
All right, guys. I'm tired. I'm going to go to bed. Yep. We will see you guys tomorrow at noon for the college football reveal. Tune in. We will be doing that a live reveal. So for the final reveal, tune in. That'll be another big episode. Be debating. We'll get you guys' thoughts on that too, because that's a big deal tomorrow. And then, as I said earlier today, going to be doing our first basketball show. So we'll be covering Penn State basketball. Tyler Smith will be on, the author of Called for Traveling, and he was on the 2001 team that made it to the Sweet 16. Teammates with Joe Crispin, the assistant head coach, who I had on here. So going to be doing that show as well tomorrow. So we'll see you for the college football reveal, and then going to be starting Penn State basketball coverage tomorrow as well. So thank you guys for coming in. Thanks for doing the show. Keep it up. Thanks, Koss.
Thanks, Koss.
It's good to have you guys on. Good night. Let's
all
go
you
Steelers,
guys. Yes, you've been absolutely phenomenal.
Good discussion, guys. I enjoyed it. Yeah, if you guys aren't subscribed, please subscribe and spread the word. Trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. We're going to do a 500 subscriber giveaway. As most of these guys know already, like Bhavani. If you comment on a live stream, you're going to be entered. So, yeah, spread the word, guys. We would appreciate it. Got to 500 subscribers. That's a good milestone. Going to do a giveaway for that, and we're trying to get to 1,000 now. So, but yeah, thanks, Bhavani. Thanks for subscribing, and yeah, share it around, guys. I mean, this is
thank you, Bhavani.
We're diehard fans. Started this podcast for fans, so diehard fans for fans. We speak the truth on this podcast. We don't filter anything, and we talk Penn State football, Steelers. We're just, yeah, we can say what we want on here, and we do. So, but
just want to say it out now before we go. But I mean, if Pittsburgh does not win tomorrow's game, we don't have to worry about doing a podcast for quite some time because
yeah,
it's pretty much it. I mean, I'm just saying,
Yeah,
right
man.
there and there. If they don't beat the Browns, I don't have any shot
Yeah.
with Pittsburgh. So
yeah, I totally. We never even got around to doing post game for the Bengals, but Penn State is keeping us busy. So, all right, guys, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow. Make sure you come on for the college football reveal. Have a good night, guys.
have a great night, guys.